At home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Well, hey, everybody. It is incredibly gorgeous today in Chicago, as it was yesterday. So, I often talk about the weather. I know it's so generic. And I have to say, though, living in Chicago, one of the world's most dazzling cities, when it's a beautiful day like today with a slight breeze, it's not too... I needed this. I'm just saying. I have needed this. And I'm very happy to be hanging out with you on this Friday. I know there's a lot going on, and I really appreciated the conversation that Joan was having with one of her guests that I was listening to on my drive in today regarding Drowsy Donnie's capitulation, when he had said that Iran he was demanding a full surrender, otherwise he was going to annihilate an entire civilization. I hope I don't have to. I mean, what nonsense is going on? I really do, because we have been sort of gaslit's not the right way. We've been groomed. We have been groomed to accept that his ridiculous behavior, the outrageous things that he says, that his lack of ability to be a diplomat. I mean, his diplomacy is abhorrent, as we see with the leader of Italy, where he said that, she begged me for a foot. Like, why even make that a story at all? Which is pretty much the entire, I guess, in congregate, all of his behavior is like, why do anything at all? So I am in a good mood, and I'm so glad that Paul Shivari is joining us. He is, of course, one of the hosts of the Sports Cubicle here on WCPT Sunday nights at 9 o'clock, along with Devin and Mike, and I'm going to miss somebody.
Dan Marver.
Dan Marver. I don't know Dan Marver.
No one really knows Dan Marver.
Dan Marver needs to come in studio.
He does.
So the reason I want you to start the show with me, one, we were talking about the show regardless, and we'll talk about the World Cup in a moment. So I woke up this morning. Well, as I scroll when I go to sleep, which you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
However, I discovered that friends of mine were in town, so I sent them a question mark.
Yeah.
Because they were sharing footage from being at Wrigley. And I'm like, excuse me? Right? So they messaged me at 10 o'clock this morning, and they were like, yeah, we're going to be in the bleachers, want to come.
For the 1:20 start today.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I went online. They were like, we're going to be in the bleachers. And bleacher tickets were $236. There were 2% of all tickets in the park left available. And I said, I will come and give you a hug. A friend of ours, Wayne Baker Brooks, he's a blues musician, and he was playing at Gallagher Way. And I'm like, I'll give you a hug. I'll listen to Wayne play, because you have to have tickets to get into Gallagher Way, too.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know. I mean, you could stand on Clark and listen,
exactly.
right?
Exactly, and I did, actually. I did get to hear it, and I got to, through the bushes, shake his hand and wave a hug. So
I was ready for you to say that you just got back from the Cubs game, and I was like, oh, you caught a good one today.
I did just get back from the Cubs game.
Okay, were you in Wrigley today?
This is a very twisted story.
Okay.
Yes. So I look, if I can get tickets, and to be very honest, there was a time in my life when I worked for another radio station where we had tickets
Were they the flagship for the Chicago Cubs at the time?
WGN had tickets right behind the dugout for the Cubs. And I've been in the box, I'm in the press box, I've been in the executive suites and all that stuff. And so I love going to the game, but it's different now even than it was when I went there as for free tickets.
Okay.
So I just don't, and I have friends who are like my friend Mark Carmen, he's a sports
guy.
person.
Yeah.
So he'll tell me different ways to get tickets. He used to do beer. He was a beer slinger.
Oh, okay.
So he would actually get me spots, and he would move me throughout the park based on the shade. He would know what time of day it's the best place to not be sitting in the sun. He would keep moving me. So I love Wrigley. I don't need to be there. It was a full game.
Yeah.
You guys go enjoy yourselves.
They whooped up today, though.
Oh my God! There was a grand slam. There were home runs.
That offense that disappeared came out today.
It was wild. So do I have to be a good luck charm? Not for my friends. So my friend goes, "I'll get you a bleacher ticket. They're $50," and I was like, okay. That should be the first.
Oh no. Is this the guy's like, no, here, I'll text you the screenshot and use that to get into the ballpark?
I'm not sure what went down. All I know is my friend said, do you want a ticket? I said, I'll take one. He's like, okay, I'll get 3. $50 sounded wrong.
Yeah.
I've never, in 10 years, I don't think I've seen less than $100 for bleacher seats, which is crazy too, by the way.
I was going to say, those who know how to get into a Cubs game know that's very scammy.
Yeah. So we get to the gate, and the guy's like, there's a whole thing about it's all digital now. You have it has to be in your wallet. And then the supervisor, when a supervisor comes,
Oh, no.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not scanning. I wonder what's right. Yeah, yep.
So my friend had been scammed, and we go out, and I was like, "Do you want to tell a cop?" They had a picture of the guy who scammed them.
Okay.
My friend had taken a photo, just
Yeah.
like, I guess for funsies. I don't know. So we have a photo. They're like, "Yeah, they're gone." Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. And then they tell us, the cops tell us, who to trust to get like off the books tickets.
Yeah.
Right. And they tell-
Which I don't know. I mean, it's got to be digital. So if they're not asking, if you're doing a ticket exchange and they're not asking you what's your email address for your MLB ballpark account, it's a scam. It's a scam. I had to like tell a guy this because like, no, you just take a screenshot and you walk up. I'm like, dude, I think it's
No.
supposed to have like a moving thing on it.
Yep,
Like,
it
and
does.
it's like,
the barcode, like it like fills in. Yes.
yeah, and you can't scam me when it comes to baseball tickets. And I miss the days when there was guys with scalpers outside
Yeah.
because Wrigley
They
was
had the
notorious. And
hard copy
Hard
tickets.
copy. And if it was like how they are now, where they're not that good, it's maybe the bleachers are packed, but the rest of the stadium's open. I'd be walking around and be like, hey, buddy, you want a ticket? It's like, yeah, I'm going to get in for $10 today. You're like, good luck, buddy. And it's like, okay, well, in the fifth inning, if you're still holding all that useless cardboard and I'm around here, I'll buy it for $10. Every time it was within a minute, they'd walk up to me and be like, all right, fine, I'll sell it to you. Here's this. And it's like, I don't care if it's obstructed. I don't care if it's
Right.
standing room
You're in
only.
the
I'm going to
park.
get into the ballpark.
That's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Is to be in the park. Now, I
Yeah.
don't know how much to tell you.
But it's funny how those scammers, though, would think that they'd always try and get one by you. But if you knew what the market was, you could play them. And I miss those days.
$50
Yeah.
for bleacher tickets on a sold out day.
On a sold-out day is a little sketchy.
It was, and I know my friends are not listening, so I love my friends. They don't live here anymore, so they were visiting from out of town, coming home for various reasons. I don't know how much I should tell you about how we got into the park because it was also sketch.
Okay.
It was everything about today was sketchy.
Yeah, don't reveal that on the air.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. All I know is we got into the park. We were in, and bleachers was standing room only. Like
Yeah.
So we were actually all the way at the top under the scoreboard. There's some stairs by that top bar under the scoreboard.
Yeah.
So there's a bar back there, and then like there's a ledge, and I was kind of sitting at an angle. I should have taken a selfie of like to let you know where, but I was under, like right by the scoreboard.
Yeah.
And then my friend goes, so we're there for a few innings. And we were there for 5 or 6 innings. And he goes, I've been watching the seats under the press box. No one's been sitting there. And I'm like, I'm on your ride. Whatever adventure we're on right now, I'm tagging
In
along.
the stadium, though, you're in the bleachers, and he's
grandstands.
looking in.
He's
Yeah.
looking across the park from the bleachers.
Because you have to like get out of the bleachers and then re-scan in, which by then you're already kind of cheating your luck at that point.
These are the things I like. Look, I at this point, like, I'm not paying for any of this.
Yeah.
Because like if he wants, I told him I wasn't gonna like. I'll tell you off the air. But anyway. So he goes, let's go see if we can sit up there. And I think everybody in the park, because my friend, even Mark, like, he knows where you can go to sort of
Yeah.
like get some seat. And plus, I've gone, I don't know if this is weird, but I don't mind going to the park by myself.
Yeah.
I will go to a Cubs game
Oh,
alone.
absolutely.
I don't tell anybody.
I'll go to movies by myself. I'll go to
Same.
ball. Yeah.
Same. It's easier.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about anybody
Yeah.
else's happiness. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to sit in the park.
You don't have to like go get food when they want to get food or yeah.
This is the thing.
Yep.
By the way, I did purchase, because they went through all these shenanigans, I did buy them hot dogs, which they had never had.
Okay.
Oh, so good. Anyway.
Because they sell it in the bleachers, right?
Only
Hot
in the
dogs,
bleachers.
yeah.
Only
yeah.
in the bleachers. So we had andouille sausage. We had 3 regulars, and then I bought them 2 to try the jalapeno cheddar and the andouille.
Okay.
So he goes, let's go see if we can sit under the press box. And I'm like, I mean, he got us into I don't know how he got us into the bleachers. I'm just tagging along at this point.
Yeah.
So we get to like there's something called like Catalina Club section under, like, right in front of the press box, right
Yeah.
behind home plate, up in the back, up there, and they bounce us. They're like, because he like tries to brush right past them.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, no, I got. He turned around and goes, watch the. It's like he's like 3-time Emmy award-winning actor locally, but still, follow my lead, like, be
Yeah.
casual, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So he like blows past them. They stop him and they bring him back, and he just confidently walks down the next aisle. And we sat like basically just to the right of the press box. And for like, I had to leave because of the show.
Yeah.
And so I sat there for like basically what, $400 tickets now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was
Wow.
ahead for. I mean, they stayed for the rest of the game. They got to see who was the guy who got saved from the minor leagues. Apparently, also got a run.
I didn't see. I saw they won 16 to something. Carson Kelly had a grand
I
slam.
think I'm good luck.
I had forgotten that they even played today. It was like leading into the day. I was like, oh, daytime Cubs game. That's cool. Whatever. I was all World Cup today, and then I checked the score and I saw, 16 runs.
Yeah,
you know,
I was there for like I would say 8 of them. Maybe
Okay.
more. And then they were also showing highlights of the U.S. soccer team.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Scoring. So did we beat Australia?
2-0. Yeah.
That. I believe that was so. Okay, so now, so Mexico has won.
Yeah.
And the signs. Have you seen some of the footage of the Korean Mexico love?
Oh yeah. I've been seeing some of that. Yeah.
It was one said beans versus rice. Which I think is amazing.
I love that like the world can kind of laugh together
Yes.
when this all happens.
All right, so what are your favorite games in the World Cup now?
Oh, that have been played so far?
Yeah.
I got to think about that. It was neat to see Messi get a hat trick. Not that I'd say that was my favorite of all of them. Gosh, I feel like I got to like go back and like see
I saw
Netherlands.
France and Senegal was kind of interesting because
That was good, yeah. Netherlands and Japan, with like Japan scoring the game-tying goal with like the 89th minute or something like that. That was a good one.
Jeez.
It's been great so far. I liked Mbappe scored the 2 goals for France. Messi got the 3 goals for Argentina. Cape Verde holding Spain scoreless.
Oh my God.
That was neat.
And that 40-year-old
Yeah, the
goalie
goalie,
who
yeah.
like basically was an accountant and decided at 25, you know what, I'm going to go for my dreams.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And here he is in the World Cup at 40 years old. Yeah.
Oh, unbelievable.
I'm trying to think of the ones that I'm looking forward to because I know that like
Scotland plays tonight.
yeah.
Come on now.
I don't think they're going to last against Morocco. We'll see if they're going to have a tough time against Brazil for their next one, but Morocco tonight, that should determine at least whose second place is going to be for that division.
Okay, so help me because I've been following content creators who are explaining like all the boxes of like all these rounds. Like losing a game doesn't mean you're out, but it is your ranking and like who has to be make a certain cut.
So
right?
this format is a little bit differently from different years because it's more teams. It's 48 teams, and it'll break down into 32 for the next round. So it's like there's 12 groups, 4 teams in each group. First 2 places automatically go into the next round, and then 8 out of the 12 third-place teams get to make it to the next round. So based on points or goal differential for tiebreaker.
Okay.
So that'll be your 32, and then it goes into like tournament play. So it's like like a knockout round is what they call that.
So right now they all get 2 games.
They'll get three
three.
group stage games. So the
they
United
don't get
States
knocked out yet.
not
So
yet,
3.
yeah. And the United States I think clinched their group, so they're automatically the winner of Group D or whatever they were in. Yeah. But they still have to play Turkey on Thursday. It's next week some point. And they'll do for the groups the 4 teams will play their 2 respective matches at the same time so that nobody's like influencing based on the scores. No one's like kind of tanking the game because they know, so USA will play Turkey the same time that Paraguay plays Australia, and it'll be like a live sort of event that whoever ends up winning the group will be first place, which is the U.S. anyway by math, but I'm sure second and third still need to be determined at this point.
Unbelievable. Well, it's and my big eyes in are the basically the Tartan Army that's descended upon Boston. Now they don't stay. Let's take a break here because I got to take a break. We're in studio with Paul Shivari, part of the Sports Cubicle here on WCPT Sunday nights at 9:00, along with Dan, Mike, and Devin. I don't know Dan's last name, so everyone else shall remain
That's fine.
Last nameless. So that's 9:00. You guys should tune in because they cover all things sports. Let's talk more about the world. If you have any thoughts, you can text me at 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278. And during the break, I will tell Paul Shivari some of the adventures that I cannot tell you on the air about the game, and he'll agree when we come back. Yeah, don't tell anybody that. So let's take a break here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150. Thank you to our friends who are tuning in on Facebook and YouTube, or maybe our podcast available wherever you download your podcasts, and our sponsors, Pride Coffee Roasters, Source, Solar, Are You Really Winning, and Kids Above All. More in a moment.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining me on WCPT as we drive it home with my producer, Board Op. You know him as a host of the Sports Cubicle, along with Mike, Dan, and Devin. So off the air, I told Paul the rest of the story of how I got into Wrigley, and he agrees. Do not share that. Now everyone's like curious.
Do you know how they do like certain nights they do like a free shuttle bus? Like it used to be you part. Okay, so they moved it
on
to
Irving. There was one
it used to be on Irving, and
that
this
park.
year, so a couple weeks ago, I go to the game, and my buddy and I use this lot that last year, and yeah, let's do the same thing this year. And for whatever reason, I checked to see what time the lot opens, and I realized, oh, they moved it to a parking garage up north of the ballpark, like up, it's up Sheridan, somewhere along there, like 5600 Sheridan, 4600 Sheridan, or somewhere around there. And I'm like, thank goodness I checked.
Yeah.
So I'll admit how I scammed the remote parking lot people. So my buddy and I do it, and it's like the school bus that they used to take you is like kind of like around the corner from the parking garage, and we're the first people on it, and we're like, well, how long is it going to take? And like, well, when the bus fills up, we'll go. And it's like, well, that could be 20 or 30 minutes. We're trying to meet friends, and we're like, we could just walk it. Why not? So we did. And they're like, oh, we're going to pass you guys. And it's like, I don't think they passed us. So we parked in the garage for free, didn't take the bus. And the crazy part is like, okay, well, we'll take it on the way home. And they're like, all right, that's fine, that's fine. We were the only 2 people on the bus ride because we took the last one out of Wrigleyville.
Oh my God.
So it's like I had like a luxury
That's
school bus, like limo cruise,
I love it. And I have no problem telling people how I got there because if you need, so I parked, there's not permitted parking on Addison, like right at Addison and Lincoln. And that's about the last block where you can park for free.
Okay,
There's not like a tow zone. I parked on the north side of the street on Addison, so facing back towards Lane Tech.
Okay.
So that's the thing is I went to high school there. I kind of know the neighborhood. I just jumped on a scooter. Whole thing cost me like $12 back and forth, and I was pointing in the right direction out of the traffic zone too, which I loved as well. And I took side streets to scooter, so I'm not in the traffic.
There you go.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
and it was a beautiful day. It just all felt good, including the shady. We got scammed, and I don't know how we got into the park, and also sat in the grandstands in front of the press box. Like the whole thing is nuts.
So who sang the 7th inning stretch? Did you stay to see who it was?
Yes, and I think he was a broadcaster, and I didn't recognize his name. That's all I know.
It wasn't
he did a nice job.
Buck Martinez, probably from the Toronto Blue Jays.
No,
okay,
no, nothing like that. Yeah,
because I'd think that'd be like the name I'd be thinking of. But yeah. Okay.
It was good. It was good. Somebody asked, did you hear about the last DOJ memo on home care for people with disabilities? Yeah, it's going to be a disaster, and I will look into that. Somebody was asking about soccer. Hold on a second. USA has clinched at least second in Group D. If Turkey loses or ties tonight, USA clinches first. If Turkey wins tonight, then the game next Thursday between US and Turkey determines first in that group.
But I still think on goal differential, they'd have to Turkey would have to outscore the United States by a handful, assuming that they don't beat up on Paraguay tonight. But yeah, they've got the next round. I don't know if they got first yet, but they've got the next round.
So someone's playing now because the game started at 5.
Yep,
is that
Morocco is ahead on Scotland 1-0. Yeah.
I don't like that at all. I need Scotland. I'm so happy. Scotland's joy.
See,
is
I need
contagious.
Morocco I'm running a pool here. Not that I think I could admit that now that I'm running like an office World Cup pool.
I was not told about a pool.
I was going to ask you too, but you have to. So basically, we drafted teams. There's 8 of us. We drafted 6 teams, and then based on how those teams do. So
I would be out. Anyway.
I gave. What's funny was I think only 2 of us, including myself, watch soccer. So I gave everyone the ranking sheets and
I just watch the fans and the tourists.
Yeah.
And how much they love. They're apparently they are surprised by how hot it is in Texas so far. They are singeing their taste buds with tacos. Tacos. They call them tacos.
Tacos.
Which is so weird. And obviously the Scots. So we talked about this before that they
outdrank Boston.
They dried out Boston. Boston is we can't keep up. But did you also see that when they party, they clean up after themselves? There was a guy cleaning up Boston Common.
Okay.
And he was like,
I heard Japan does that. I heard there were fans handing out blue bags or something like that.
Scotland also picks up after itself, makes nice, neat piles of all their trash.
I'd heard something about the Australians were going to have a song about Donald Trump that they were going to sing today at the game. Yeah,
it was something about how he's a pedophile.
Yeah. And some American people were like, that's great. We should be singing songs, making fun. And it's I'm hoping that soccer finally comes to the United States where we start razzing each other in song, because that's one of the best parts about soccer. Yeah. You can come up with some zingers in song,
Yeah, it's a totally different vibe. And here's the thing, watching, I went to Three Counties Pub. It's an Irish pub right down the street here. So there were some folks, and there were a couple Irish expats. And so it was kind of fun it was the France-Senegal game.
Okay.
And, but it was just kind of nice to be around people who get the game. For me, it's hard to watch.
It's hard to watch. Okay. I was going to say, it's an intense game when it comes down to it. But you got to hope for an exciting one and not a scoreless draw.
Right. You have to pay attention to the tedium of it until, you don't know it's exciting until someone's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a little. It's a lot.
I feel like it builds slower than hockey because hockey is one of
Yeah,
those where
same.
it's like it's so fast you blink and you'll miss
Yeah,
it.
agreed.
With soccer, at least, like you kind of see it coming a little bit. I mean, there's still some surprises, but yeah, I mean, like a scoreless draw though, I never with the World Cup, I'm okay with it, like that Cape Verde Spain. But normally when it's like one of my teams, I feel like I've wasted like 90 minutes of my life that I'll never get back. You know?
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't mind at a pub listening to conversation. You know, if my neighbor is here griping about the Obama Presidential Library, and it looks like you built like a correction center. You know, they didn't even pay those poor SOBs. What you know? Like, the whole thing.
Do you ever have those like fringe Facebook friends that are like Trumpers, but they don't even know why, don't even have a leg
Sure.
to stand? So I saw one pop up. It was like Fox News talking about the Obama Presidential Center. And one of these like old coworkers of mine that I'm still friends with on Facebook is like, pay your contractors. And it was just like, oh, honey, you might want to be sitting down because I got a story that'll make you blush about presidents not paying their contractors.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's some really dark stories about the things that Trump has done to his contractors. And
Yeah.
there's one guy who like was tearfully talking about a friend of his who had committed suicide because Trump basically drove him out of business, not paying him.
Yeah.
So yeah, save that.
It's just
Those
weird that
crocodile
like
tears.
people trip over the hill that they're going to die on in some cases when they're defending Donald Trump. But
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, this is what you want to do. Well, and it is amazing. Anyway, the hatred for by the way, I'm not allowed to say anything, but my friends that were in town were actually they didn't reach out to me because they were working on the event yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And so it was kind of fun to hear a little bit of behind the scenes and how people looked and how they behaved and stuff like that. At any rate, but it was fun at Wrigley to see on the big screen like images of the World Cup, and the park went crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah. For both goals. So they broadcast both of those. So it was very fun. And I do like the so by the way, someone just texted in Sox are in first place. That's awesome.
Are they? Because I think Cleveland won yesterday, so technically I think Cleveland is half a game ahead of the White Sox.
I don't know.
We can enjoy the fact that the White Sox are above expectations, but I think technically they're in second.
I think they've got a nice park too. I mean, there's nothing. I'm sorry, but there's nothing that beats Wrigley. It's just
The food is better on the South Side.
that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, hot dog. Have you had a hot dog?
I haven't. I missed my chance when it was in Avondale because it was like the line was around the corner.
Yeah.
And I think at the time my buddy was like, do you want to get burgers from Kuma's or do you want to go to Hot
Oh,
Dogs?
that's a tough
And
call.
Yeah, so I went Kuma's at the time.
That's a tough call. And for folks who never went to Hot Doug, so Doug would be behind the counter. Doug is kind of his own. It was a little bit like this, the Billy Goat Tavern, cheeseburger. He was very much, if you got to the counter and you weren't ready with your order, already waiting in line, you didn't know what you wanted, he would make you step aside so the next person could order, like that kind of stuff.
At least like he wouldn't send you to the back or something,
I
or
can't remember if he
like
did, but
like
I
soup Nazi, just be like, you're out, no soup for you.
No soup for you. So he on Fridays he would have truffle fries. So the fries were fried in
Weren't they
truffle
normally
oil.
like duck fat otherwise
Duck,
though?
that's
yeah.
what it was. It was duck fat. I apologize.
fat, yeah.
I think only on Fridays it was duck fat oil. It was fantastic.
Oh wow.
So anyway, they don't have fries at Wrigley, but the woman behind the counter said it's hard for her to work there because she's hungry all the time from the smell. It was really good. So.
Did you ever have Doug collaborated with Peace
Yes,
Pizzeria?
Pete's Pizza.
Yeah.
I was telling my friends exactly the same thing.
I love Peace Pizzeria.
Peace.
Yeah, the New Haven style. Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought up Peace Pizza. Yes, one fantastic, and I should see. They used to bring in pizzas at the other station, so I will reach out and see if we can maybe do a.
Say now that I've given them like a free endorsement here. Yeah.
Well, I have another one for you. So when I went to Lane Tech, so I graduated in '89. There was a sandwich place called Heroes right across the street. Had the best sub sandwiches. I mean, like your Italian subs with like the salami and the
it's like a real deal place.
Oh, there's the best shredded, like the kind of shredded lettuce that you're like, this should always be like this. So they closed years ago, and it's been empty. The building has been empty for years, and so recently it was bought or opened up by a baker. So he has a bakery. This guy has a bakery somewhere else in town. Someone probably knows who the owner is. And I'm like, I just want to check it out. And the girl behind the counter was so sweet. And she was telling me about their flour. They ship it in from Italy. It's like, they have a whole thing about how it's gluten-free. It's called Retro Pizza. It's at the corner of Addison and Western. And she told me how she likes her pizza. And it's just like a little, like, kind of I can't explain it. It was so frickin' good, Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, like.
But it's like a gluten-free pizza.
But not because it's not like, like they removed the gluten. It's Italian flour. So
Gotcha.
It's different than our flour.
Okay.
So it's more digestible. It was so, I mean, like, it's like buttery. Oh my God, it was so good. It was so good. I want to go back because they also do croissants and muffins and stuff. It's a bakery. All their stuff comes from the in shop. So yeah.
So are you gonna like go from one pizza place to the next until someone endorses the Patti Vasquez driving it home?
If you want to sponsor the driving home Patti Vasquez or our Pride Parade float, you can email me pvasquez@heartlandsignal.com. That's pvasquez@heartlandsignal.com. No, retro was I wanted to go in there because and they recreated. There was always just a ledge. You know, like some Italian beef sandwiches just have a ledge.
Yeah, so do like the lean. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have a ledge and everything. There's no tables in there. Just picnic tables outside, which was nice. It's right by the bowling alley on Western Avenue too. If folks know where that is.
Yeah.
And you can get a free round of bowling if you go in there. They got a card and everything. So highly recommend.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So frickin' good. I think I'm okay with the FCC on that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Are you? So you're hanging out for the rest of the show?
Yeah, I'll be in the back. Yeah.
So now, can you before you go in there, can you make sure we have your microphone because we're going to talk movies next?
Yes.
Mike Crowley's going to come in.
Absolutely.
And, we've got movie reviews next. You know what? Let's Friday. My brain hurts. I was in the sun. I didn't get arrested for getting into socks to Wrigley. Sorry, I just saw socks on my White Sox. Let's see their standings. The official standings.
It's like they're ahead by a half percentage point or 1 percentage point.
I think that our listener would argue that that's technically first place.
Yeah.
I mean, first place is first place.
Technically it is, yeah.
And they're playing
Detroit.
Detroit right now, apparently. Is that live at Detroit?
I believe so, yeah.
All right, then.
They're at least warming up. They'll start soon.
All right, folks, tune into your favorite games, but have us on in the background. Just turn the you know how some people turn the volume down to listen to the radio commentary? Turn the radio down, just listen to us.
Yeah.
We won't tell you what's happening in the game, but you can still watch and listen to us.
Yeah, the visuals will tell the story.
Exactly. Thank you, Paul. That was
thank
fun.
you.
More that's the sports cubicle. Do you have any specific stories coming up on Friday?
World
Sunday?
Cup, Thiago Splitter getting hired by the Bulls. We're going to wrap up the Carolina Hurricanes. Hopefully Mike Mercado will tie that to Thiago Splitter because there actually is a connection there. And, Devin already filed the report, but there's already some stuff that's happened. MLB, and it's like fight with promoting pride versus like the Christian anti-LGBTQ stuff going on. So Devin's going to talk about that a little bit. Yeah.
It was Juneteenth celebration day at Wrigley. I don't know what the
What did they
do?
do?
I didn't.
You know, it's something, not to take it to a different topic, but I feel like if Juneteenth is going to last as a federal holiday, like we need to do more to like promote it.
Yep,
like it doesn't feel like a federal holiday. And I'll admit, I didn't even know it was a thing until that episode of Atlanta like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So like as Northerners, this was never like a thing that was known or celebrated, up here. So I'd like to be on board though.
Dude, I have a degree in history and I didn't know about Tulsa like being
Right?
black communities being wiped out until like 10 years ago too. I mean like it's and that I think is part of the social media energy is being able to tell more of those stories and without the sort of like gatekeepers, whether it's the textbooks or the schools or the state governments and things like that and the federal government. So yeah, same. I agree. Juneteenth, everybody. Look into it and learn more. That's what we should all do, and not just on this day, every day. Thank you, Paul Shivari. Let's take a break here. We'll come back with Mike Crowley, who I believe has joined us in the building after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. Thank you all for being here.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our drive home here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. You can also catch our live stream on Facebook as well as YouTube, or you can catch all of our shows. If you miss anything, you can catch our shows on podcast wherever you download your podcasts, including heartlandsignal.com. Joining me in studio is YPA reviewer, ypareviews.com, and you'll probably agree reviews. Mike Crowley joins us in studio, and we also have Paul Shivari, who, if you want to join Paul, are you seeing any movies, Paul?
I am bad when it comes to seeing new movies.
Is there a good or bad to seeing movies? You just haven't had a chance.
I just don't get out to the theater in time. That's my problem.
Are you streaming movies? Because most movies are streamable now, it seems.
I never get a chance to. That's how I'm your World Cup guys. I'm streaming sports all the time.
Okay. All right. Are you watching World Cup, Mike?
No. I'm not really a soccer guy, although I respect the sport. I don't have like a mega mentality towards it. Like, it's stupid. All I do is kick a ball. And it only goes in the net one time. But yeah.
But are you watching any of the fever of like the Scots taking over Boston?
No, the only thing I saw was a video of Triumph the Insult comic dog going to the World Cup. And
Oh, I have
that
not
was
seen this,
it.
Paul. Have you seen this?
I feel like I have, but I can't remember what happens.
I don't know. Like one part was funny. It's PG, so I can say like he was talking to a bunch of dudes from Greece, and as a person who's part Greek, like I totally got the joke. He like talked to all these guys, and he's like, "Which deli do you work at?" And like all those guys actually did work at a deli.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. So Paul, I'm trying to think. I don't know what the last movie I saw in the theater was. I feel like I saw, what was the dating movie with Pedro Pascal?
Oh man, that was a long time ago. Yeah, it was like a year ago.
I saw. See, Paul,
Not past lives. I don't know, gold diggers or something like that. But it was something like that. It was about
kinda
gold
like that.
digging. Yeah.
It was about this matchmaker.
Yeah.
With at any rate, that was like one of the last movies I saw in the theater.
Yeah. I remember I gave it a pretty good review at the time, but I don't
Yeah.
really remember much
And that's why I
about
saw it.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. Paul, do you remember your last movie in the theater?
The Phoenician Scheme after Mike's recommendation.
Oh yeah, that one was pretty good. I liked it. That was one of the more entertaining Wes Anderson movies I saw in a while. Although it's like if you've seen like one Wes Anderson movie, it kind of feels like you've seen them all
I
at
do
a
get
certain
that
point.
sense a little
Yeah.
bit.
I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan, and I was going to see it anyway. But as soon as you gave that review, I was like, "All right, I'm going to see it as soon as I possibly can."
Nice. Yeah, it was fun. I don't, God, it was so long ago. I think Benicio del Toro was great in it. But yeah, otherwise I don't. Yeah. It was all right.
Benedict Cumberbatch stood out to me.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, he was in that. I barely remember.
All right,
I know Kate Winslet's daughter was like the nun in it. But yeah.
Interesting.
She
Yeah.
was really good. Yeah.
So what was the last movie you saw in the theater, Mike Crowley, Mr.
In the theater was Toy Story 5,
Oh, boy.
which yeah.
Do you want to start here, or where do you want to start?
Well, that was the last one I saw in the theater, but like last week? Yeah, last week I saw like 4 movies. So
Jeez.
I saw Disclosure Day, I saw The Furious, which is bleeping amazing. It's like one of the best action movies I've ever seen.
Well, let's live here for a second. Let's not race through them all.
Yeah.
Let's start with the Fury, since you've already started talking about how it's amazing. Tell me about the concept, or at least what's the log line, and who's in it, who directs it.
Well, it's
What's
kind
it
of I don't know the name of the director, because like if I try, it's it's someone from another country, and if I try to like say the name like on the
hear you.
spot, it would just be humiliating. But yeah, The Furious is basically a movie about like a guy whose daughter gets kidnapped by a bunch of human traffickers, so he goes and rescues her and gets revenge. It's kind of like Taken, except the action's way better, because like the way Asian cinema does action is like the way the Matrix did action, which is why it was such a big deal, because they have the camera really wide and it doesn't cut a lot. So when people are like hitting each other and kicking each other, like you actually see the hits,
Okay.
instead of like the camera like cutting to like over their shoulder or something and then cutting somewhere else, and you're like, wait, where are we? What's going on? And like they use like every single like toolbox like that there is, like anything that they can grab. Like if we were having a fight scene in here, I'd use the phone, I'd use the mouse, I'd slam someone's head with that thing over there. Like they do all that stuff, and and there's kind of a cathartic feeling to it, because a bunch of human traffickers like go and get killed. It's kind of like, man, wouldn't it be cool if they made a game about Epstein Island? That was a first.
Jeez.
Never mind.
Yikes! Wow. Okay, so that is The Furious.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, a lot of it's a standard story, but there's some insane twists to it, and it's about the cycle of violence, but it's a very good cycle of violence movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. So that was one of the movies you saw last week.
Yeah.
Let's go back. I'm curious. Let's.
And then after that was The Death of Robin Hood,
What's
which
the Death of Robin Hood?
so it's basically about if Robin Hood was a bad guy, and it's exactly like the title says. This is final days. And the movie has some amazing moments. I love what it's going for with the theme. I really love what they do with like this little girl in the movie, and how it's about how Robin Hood's gonna turn her into a monster like him. Like the poster says he was no hero, so he's not the guy who, steals from the rich and gives to the poor. Like the only Robin Hood movie I've ever seen was Robin Hood Men in Tights. So I don't really know much about the character other than like the basic stuff about him. I know the director of I think his name is Michael Chaplin. He directed Casablanca. He did a Robin Hood movie I like to see, but I bet by today's standards it's pretty lame.
Gotcha.
But no, like there's some amazing stuff it does with it, but it goes on for a little too long. Like the movie's over 2 hours. It really could have been like an hour and a half. And I think in an hour and a half, it would have been an amazing movie. But it just kind of meanders its theme about violence is bad, revenge is bad, he was bad. Oh, and it's like, okay, now I feel like I feel like I was sitting through a funeral like I did when I was a kid, where it wouldn't end, where the priest would go in English, but then he'd do the whole thing in Greek, and I'm just like, will this just end already? So
your mind is wandering. You're trying to
Yeah.
thinking about like where you parked your car, or
yeah.
how it's going to take to get home. That's not, you don't want to be in that situation.
Yeah, after I
Usually
saw like
movies-
a dude's jaw get ripped off in the movie, I was like, whoa, where's this going? And then I'm just like, all right, someone else is dead. You know, and I just kind of got bored with it, but it was all right. You know, it was like a 3 out of 4. You know, but it could have been a 4 if they really trimmed it a bit.
Well,
But,
it's
yeah.
interesting. I thought there was an interesting take. I saw this again on just scrolling. Patton Oswalt talked about how directors. They film a lot. It's the editors who shape the story, and sometimes to your point about a movie being over 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Like an hour and a half story is pretty. I mean, and not that there haven't been magnificent movies that are more right, sweeping movies and things like that. Like I still haven't seen Oppenheimer because I think that's a long one, isn't it?
It's 3 hours, but it feels like a 3-hour montage. But that movie, I won't say that it's like it's not like. It depends on the person who sees it.
Right.
I loved Oppenheimer, but I also kind of feel like it was Christopher Nolan's greatest flaw, which is his movies are a little flat and emotionless.
Right.
Which except for Interstellar and some of the Dark Knight films. But yeah, which is okay. He's not Steven Spielberg. He's not Mr. Sentimental.
Right.
He's more like Alfred Hitchcock, where it's more about, the thrills and the structure and all that. And, Christopher Nolan, he's brilliant at editing. Like, if you watch any of his movies, none of his shots last for longer than like 3 seconds. Wow. It's always like cutting. But it's so well done. You don't even notice it. The craziest thing is that he does his movies on film, and the way they cut it, they don't do it on a computer like us. They use the old chopping block and glue it together. Yeah.
Holy moly.
And with the amount of cutting he does, like, oh my God, I would kill myself if I was the editor on a Christopher Nolan film. They'd find my blood on the film print after I slit. Anyways, I won't get graphic with I am done. But yeah, Oppenheimer, I loved. That was my favorite movie that year. But some people don't love it, and I understand why. But, in terms of its pacing, and I think in terms of, it's a story about a guy who did the right thing but also did the wrong thing. And it's about kind of like how his country kind of used him and spat him out,
Right. Yeah.
when he already probably had a lot on his mind. Although I really wish it went more into, like, his final years where, like,
Right.
The guilt
The weight
of
of
what
it.
he did weighed on him. And they didn't do that. Because I guess that's not Nolan's thing, but it would have been great to just see some, sequences.
That's an interesting, I think that's an interesting take. Considering, the sort of moment that we're in history where we just surrendered to Iran, and we're still the only country that's ever nuked anybody, and it was a threat apparently in some ways during the last several months.
Yeah, and the funniest thing is when people say like the nuclear deterrence theory, it's like, oh well,
Mutual
if you don't
destruction.
nuke me, I won't nuke you. And I'm like, yeah, if there were no nukes, we wouldn't have to worry about that. But
these are points
but it keeps peace. Like, no, it doesn't. But whatever.
The whole idea that Trump is like, well, they should have missiles. We all have missiles. Okay, so I thought, okay, is it?
Yeah, and he gave them more weaponry and more money.
crazy.
So yeah, congratulations,
Everybody. Yep.
Yeah, woohoo! Open a Monster Energy and a Mountain Dew, and let's watch some motorcycles and cage fights. Yeah.
Well, instead of that, let's talk more about movies. We'll take a break here. We're hanging out with Mike Crowley. He's YPA Reviews. You'll probably agree reviews. Go to ypareviews.com. He's also got a YouTube channel. When we come back, we'll talk about some more movies. You can text us 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278. Let me know if there's any movies out there that you have questions about, or what have you seen that you enjoy. Give us a text, 773-763-9278. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. Thank you to all of our friends who are tuning in on Facebook and YouTube.
From city streets to political beats, you're driving it home with Patti Vasquez, where progressive talk fuels the ride.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our drive home here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. Hello to everyone tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, or perhaps a radio app, wherever you're joining us. We also want to invite you to tune in to our podcast. If you miss anything or want to listen to it again, our podcasts are available wherever you listen to your podcasts, including heartlandsignal.com. Joining me in studio is YPA reviewer, you'll probably agree reviews, Mike Crowley. So you said 4 movies, The Furious. I can't remember the other.
That's okay. I don't remember. It was Disclosure Day, The Furious, The Death of Robin Hood, and then Toy Story 5.
Let's go to Disclosure Day. So this
Yeah.
is
Disclosure Day. We didn't talk about the Spielberg movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about this one.
I've
heard. I mean, people seem really excited about it.
It was all right. I mean, it's a good old-fashioned Hollywood film where, although it's Spielberg and he's very visual, this movie's much more about the pace of the film. It's much more about how it moves. There's only like one action sequence in it, but it's a really cool one involving like a car and a train. It's Spielberg reaching into his old bag. He's done Aliens like 4 times now. Like he's done 3 Alien movies, and then you have the super advanced robots at the end of AI, which is a movie people are actually coming around now, but I loved it at the time. It made me cry. It still makes me cry. But they looked like aliens at the end of AI. This movie is dealing with the concept of what happens if we find out that aliens are in fact real and it's disclosed to the earth. Unfortunately, the president kind of already spoiled that, and we found out we didn't care that much when we found out. But the way this movie handles it is pretty well done because it also questions the concept of religion. If there is intelligent life out there, then wouldn't an almighty God not just look over beings on Earth, but beings all across not just the Milky Way galaxy, but any other galaxy?
Okay.
Yeah. And how do we share that space together? And, this is a nice Aliens movie. This isn't the bad Aliens movie. And they do some great stuff. Emily Blunt is amazing in it. Like, there's this whole 4-minute sequence where she just goes into, like, this alien language. And then there's other sequences where she'll be having, like, long, parts of dialogue where she'll seamlessly speak in other like actual languages that we have, not that not that alien stuff. Yeah. But yeah, like she's amazing in it. There's like this one character in the movie, her name is Jane. She could have been like totally cut from the film and you wouldn't have lost anything. Because same with Death of Robin Hood, this is too long. And Spielberg, he makes long movies. That's his thing. And he's good at that.
Right.
But
he keeps you engaged.
Yeah, he keeps you engaged. And, the movie overall, if you didn't know this is Spielberg and it's a film by itself, it's a very engaging thriller. Minus the president ruining this and the boys. Like, this is a thriller that actually, like, it makes you wonder, like, yeah, what if aliens one day were revealed that they are real, although we know what actually happened, if they made a bigger deal of it, and we questioned our own ethic, because, we have had semi-disclosure days, but I think people are still skeptical if it's real or not. Right. Although even Obama said that there are aliens, and, he said that like in a CBS interview, like they confirmed that. But this movie handles it through the lens of if we didn't know that from before. And also, how do we handle the essence of our own existence and how are we connected as people? Because that's the main thing the movie's striving for, is the connection between us and other species and all life together. And it kind of has that Spielberg sentimentalism to it, but I would say that Spielberg is the king of sentimentality.
Yeah,
because he doesn't force it down your throats. It's not like some Minions junk. It's actually coming from the heart. And his movies are intelligent as well. Like, look at Munich. That's a prime example of an intelligent movie made by
that nobody saw.
Yeah, nobody saw it. That came out the same year as War of the Worlds. I think he was trying to do like maybe a Jurassic Park Schindler's List thing where he did like both movies within the same year and made two classics. Yeah, I don't. That's why he's goated to me, because like who else directed two timeless classics within the same year and then did classics before that? And people can say, oh, well, he's a blockbuster guy and you should see a Jean-Luc Godard film. Like, you can enjoy both. And there are filmmakers like Francois Truffaut who were in Close Encounters, and Stanley Kubrick, who greatly respected Spielberg. And I mean, that's how AI came about, is that they worked together. So yeah, Spielberg is one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. It's hard for him to live up to his own record. And, as a movie itself, it's a 3.5. It's a solid film, but it's a Spielberg film. He's done this a million times before.
Right.
So, it's kind of like, I did one social media video that you can find on my TikTok page and my Instagram page. I got a lot of hits, which is pretty disturbing, but it was a scene from Fire in the Sky where the guy gets probed. And I just wrote, this is what happened after Roy boarded the ship, regarding the ends of Close Encounters. But
oh God,
yeah, it's but no, it's good. But yeah, it's not Spielberg's best. But what do you want the guy to do? He's like in his 80s now, I think, or 79.
Wow,
I don't know.
So, we're not allowed to get old. By the way, I do want to. I wanted to quickly look it up. Obama said when he was asked.
Yeah.
But Brian Tyler Cohen asked, "Are aliens real?" Obama answered, "They're real, but I haven't seen them."
Yes.
And added humorously that if there are any alien specimens kept underground facilities, it would require enormous conspiracy to hide them from the president. And then he had to clarify later. He explained that while the universe is so vast that the statistical odds of life existing are high, the distances between solar systems are so great, the chances of Earth being visited by aliens are low. So
no, thank you for that clarification. That makes the movie hey, guess what? Disclosure Day. It's even better now, folks. Check it out.
Oh, by the way, so a listener texted in. So Tom Hartman is also a host on WCPT Days.
Yeah.
Apparently, he said Disclosure Day was amazing. The listener says, I thought it was derivative and basically boring.
Yeah, see, it's like it's a little bit of like it's a little derivative, but it's not too derivative, and it's still original enough. And he's still like Spielberg still plays with different concepts. Though I mean I can't give it away, but when you get to the ending, Spielberg does that great thing where he makes you cry at the end, and that's also thanks to John Williams' score. John Williams, I think he's 89 or 90 now.
Yes, I thought he had retired. He is. Yeah. I looked it up one day. I mean, it's extraordinary how many soundtrack,
Yeah.
all the music that he's done for these movies is incredible. Like there was something we were watching. I'm like, is that John Williams? And it was. There's so many. I mean, there's so many movies.
I know there's so many. Not just the Spielberg films, but like Home Alone, Harry Potter.
The Harry Potter music he did was great too.
Yeah, the Oliver Stone films he did with him, like JFK, Nixon. I think is a vastly overlooked film. I love that movie. And, that was like Oliver Stone when he was like whenever he made movies about war or the 70s because he served in Vietnam, that was very personal to him. That was like his best stuff.
By the way, we are missing on the fact that he also did TV themes.
Oh, really?
Dude,
like which ones?
He did Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
Holy smoke. Lost in Space.
Oh, really? Yeah. Wow.
Man. I don't know all of these, but 13 TV themes, but those are the ones I recognize the most. But yeah, a show called Checkmate.
Yeah.
Which I've never heard of. As I mentioned, Gilligan's Island. Hold on a second, I'm going to find the rest of these. There's a bunch. The Tammy Grimes Show, which I've never heard of. We had a jazz background for this 60s theme sitcom that most never know. The Time Tunnel. He did the Land of the Giants. At any rate, the ones that we know are Gilligan's Island and Lost in Space. That's crazy.
No, I mean and the themes that he picked, and he's copied. You should see if you really want to do a deep dive into John Williams. Look at a song called Planets, and then go to the track where the Death Star is destroyed in A New Hope, or really it's called Star Wars. You'll see the similarities. They're very similar. Also, Romeo and Juliet, when they're doing, there's a song that goes dun, 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 dun. It's very similar to the Imperial March. But,
wow. Well, yeah. I mean, Superman was great.
Yes.
Christopher Reeves, amazing. Yeah. Obviously, Jaws, Raiders of the Lost Ark. What an incredible. And he also did this. That's wild.
Yeah. And when you hear that choral arrangement come in and Disclosure Day. It's like, oh, here comes those feelings again. I'm getting those AI
It is
AI reminders.
right. Disclosure Day is his 30th collaboration with Steven Spielberg.
Wow, that's amazing.
Crazy.
Yeah.
We are hanging out with Mike Crowley, reviewer for YPA Reviews. Go to ypareviews.com. ypareviews.com. Let's take a break here and continue our conversation when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. If you want to text us your thoughts on movies or if you have any questions, 773-763-9278. More in a moment.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our drive home here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, now we also have our friends listening on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. So also, we want to say hi to our friends who are tuning in on Facebook and YouTube. Perhaps you're listening to this on a podcast, and thank you for doing so because all of our shows are available wherever you download your podcast, including heartlandsignal.com. Joining me in studio is our guest today. Mike Crowley is the YPA reviewer. You'll probably agree reviews. Do you ever have folks who are like, I didn't agree with you at all?
Yeah, I always joke, like, a lot of people go, you should call it, you'll probably not agree, you know. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I did actually briefly do that for the podcast where I called it the You'll Probably Not Agree podcast, but then I just was like, I'll just stick with the regular.
Yeah. It's, it's fine. Engagement is engagement.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's like if they don't agree, they should be respectful. And anyone who leaves disrespectful comments, like, anything making fun of anyone's personal appearance on my show, including mine, like, your comment's going to be deleted and no one's going to ever see it. So I only welcome polite discord into my show. Yeah.
Agreed. You get one shot.
Yeah.
Everyone gets one shot. And the shot you shot is the one. There's nothing beyond that.
Yeah.
You're blocked.
Yeah, exactly.
You can be a little cockroach in a glass jar. Think you're getting somewhere. You're not. You're in a glass jar.
Yeah.
So, Mike, before we continue our conversation, I do want to thank our sponsors. Thank you to our friends at Pride Coffee Roasters. What started out as a hobby, just trying to roast some coffee beans at home and just see if they were good at it. They are the best single origin roasted to order coffee maker. Coffee roasters. I have the pleasure of enjoying every single morning. So go to pridecoffeeroasters.com because every single cup of coffee tastes like a love letter in a mug. pridecoffeeroasters.com. We also want to thank our friends at Source Solar. Go to source.solar, make an appointment with Peter Sorellis. Maybe it's time to get solar panels on your house or business. He is the guy that will help you get through the entire process. That's source.solar. He's got financing available too. So if you've been thinking about it, you're not sure if you can afford it, it's a good investment in your home, in our environment. When you go green, you save green with Source Solar. Let's thank our friends as well at Are You Really Winning? If you or someone you love is struggling with a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit areyoureallywinning.com. So let's continue our conversation. I'm trying to think. Let's start. Go back a little bit. I think we should end on Toy Story.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's go with Obsessions. I think is one of the movies we were talking about off the air.
Yeah.
Which started out as a YouTube limited sort of a series.
Yeah. It was. I never saw neither Obsession series or the Backroom series. I saw the movies themselves, and I really enjoyed them.
Interesting.
Yeah, like both are good for their own reason. I liked. I guess I'll start with Obsession since that came out before Backrooms, but Obsession was good because it was kind of about how people today force validation from people rather than earning it. It's this movie about this guy. He gets like this magical like wishing willow thing. Like you say, I wish for this, blah 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 blah, and you break it in half, and then you get your wish. Except it's one of those like kind of like a Twilight Zone episode. Be careful of what you wish for, sort of scenarios.
Okay.
And this guy wishes for this girl who works with him that he likes to be madly in love with him. But when he gets his wish and she's madly in love with him, she really is madly in love with him. Like, she does insane things. The performance from, I think her name is like Indy Neveready or something like that. I don't have her name right in front of me. She's great in it. And the aspect of the movie is that you're kind of questioning who's really the bad person, because this guy gets what he wants, but then he like realizes what happened to her and he feels bad, but instead of like trying to wish that the curse is broken and then she can be her own person and love whoever she wants, he's like, well, I just want her to wish me a little less. And then he breaks it, and it's like he's still doing it. And like, to me, it felt like a euphemism for like people who are on social media and they always want people to like your stuff, to drive clicks. By the way, go to YPA Reviews. We love having more followers. And it's really about how we're people who have lost connection. Like, this movie isn't about like people staring at phones or anything like that. But they might as well be, because the thing this guy does, where he basically hijacks this girl's mind and then doesn't try to stop it.
Right.
Where, like, really, I think his name's Bear in the movie. Like, he was the real monster. And like, although they kind of turned her into one, she was never in control. And she wanted to break free from it. And yeah, it's a movie from the beginning to the end. You're like, what's gonna happen? And yeah, it's a horror movie, but it's the writing. You know, not really the directing so much. Like, the directing's okay, but it's the writing in that movie that I think is really what makes it work. And that would make sense, because like the director's father, he's not like a big shot in Hollywood or anything. So all those people who are like, oh, nepotism, like, no, you're just jealous that, like, you know, 19 and 20-year-olds are like Spielberg when he was that age and are thriving. You know, it's someone who had someone whose father did like a podcast on screenwriting, and he obviously put that knowledge into his son, and it comes through on the page. On screen, it's okay. But I think Backrooms was the better movie when it came to the Backrooms obsession stuff. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I'm trying to find information about like how this started. So both are done, as you mentioned, 20-year-olds who started their projects on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Hollywood, when I used to go out there, so I used to pitch story ideas for film and for television. And I remember them talking about, this was like at the sort of rise of what they call the big tent movies, right? Meaning everybody, like young and old, male and female, was what and that was really, I think, the idea behind just constantly putting out these superhero movies.
Yeah.
Right. And just having to have and like that drive to always have blockbuster movies and thinking and sort of getting away from just telling stories, even though these are horror movies, right, or scary or thrillers. Because I mean, like, if you think of some of the movies in the 80s, like, these weren't big budget movies. If you think of Fatal Attraction, I mean, like, while Michael Douglas might have had a bigger salary or whatever, these were smaller stories. They were very like simple but terrifying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just her obsession with him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be ignored. Right? It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Right? Finding a dead rabbit in your boiling pot of water. Do you remember, Paul? I didn't mean to leave you out of this conversation. Please jump in at any time.
Sure thing.
Some of your any of the like movies, like it's like just these smaller stories that don't have to be like big blockbuster, you know, CGI and action movies, right?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think you can tell a good story, and it doesn't have to be a blockbuster.
Do you follow anything that's produced on YouTube? Have you ever people watch these series? This is where a lot of the content's going to be coming from for Hollywood now.
I don't, but I did fall into like a YouTube thing that's been going on like last decade called The Big Les Show out of Australia. It's very like vulgar and funny, but it's
the
like
Big what?
Got over like millions of views.
I think you said Les.
Did you say The Big Les Show? LEZ.
Yeah.
The Big Les.
I kind of want to see that show now. That show sounds awesome.
All right, the big. That's good. It's animated. Okay.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, Flash animation. It's really rough the first couple seasons, but then it gets a little bit better. But this dude did each frame on Windows Paint.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
What?
So much better than AI, you know?
Yeah, and there's like kind of like side stories and spinoffs, but it all starts with The Big Les Show. But Sassy Sasquatch is the best one out of all of that.
Sassy Sasquatch. It kind of reminds me of Peanut Butter Jelly Time when I hear that. But
Yeah,
I don't think anybody remembers that. Peanut Butter Jelly Time.
Oh, yeah, the little
Peanut Butter
dancing
Jelly.
banana?
Peanut Butter Jelly, yeah, with a baseball bat. Yeah, like, although I'm gonna guess that the Les Show has way better writing to it than that. Yeah, there is that. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to see audiences not just pouring money into seeing like I think there's a reason why Backrooms and Obsession is kind of creating its own Barbenheimer, and it's because audiences have you know, I think now that we kind of live in hopeless times, people are kind of tired of seeing movies that are constantly featuring superheroes saving squirrels and laser shooting rainbows and everyone being told everything's okay. It's like, no, they want to go to a theater and they see a horror movie that's kind of speaking to them and their generation. Because you have obsession about people forcing validation, and you got Backrooms, which is about people with unaccomplished dreams who end up kind of falling victim to their own failure and flaws. Because Backrooms is about like this guy named Clark, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, which is hilarious because, you know, Chiwetel is this guy. He's this well-renowned British actor. And his character in the movie is this guy who like runs this furniture store that nobody goes to. And he does this ad where he pretends to be a pirate because it's called Captain Clark's Furniture Store.
Boy. Right.
And here's this British actor putting on like an American accent. And he's like, "Yar, matey, come down to Captain Clark's." You know, but he's amazing in the movie. And it's this film about like this guy, he has a divorce. He has this furniture store that nobody's going to. He's in his 40s, pretty much like life has passed him by. And then when he finds like this hidden dimension where it's like it's kind of like when you see abandoned malls. It kind of looks like that. Yeah, like the back rooms. And there's like deformed versions of like, there's like stop signs in the middle of like rooms with a carpet, and there's like furniture everywhere. And like when you get to like the like Picasso painting looking people near the end, you kind of like it's open for interpretation, which is what I like about it. It's much more complicated than like the whole trying to force validation, get whatever wish I want sort of thing. But I'm not comparing the two. I really like both movies. But when you get to kind of like not the end of the film, but like when you go from the beginning to the end, you're watching something that's very unique and kind of altruistic, and something I haven't seen from a lot of filmmakers before. And yeah, I think YouTube is sort of like, you know, I was against it for a while because I thought, well, if people just watch movies on YouTube, they won't want to go to the theaters.
But it
turns out that YouTubers made people want to go to the theaters.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I love that.
It's great.
And I think we need more of that. And I was telling a friend of mine who lives in Los Angeles, she has lost, she said, about 30% of her income to AI because she's a voiceover artist. And so you know, when Griffin graduated a couple weeks ago from U Chicago, the names announced were done by AI. And I almost missed Griffin because it was hours of like every city, and they didn't have, it wasn't alphabetical, it wasn't by department. I really didn't know when he was going to be announced.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, I got distracted. Me and his girlfriend were distracted because we heard her human voice. The woman right in front of Griffin had requested to have a human. She refused to have AI announce her name at her graduation, which I thought was great. And I was kind of surprised that Griffin didn't do the same or didn't know he could. But so I almost missed Griffin because I was so distracted. I was like, oh, that's a real person. And then we heard Griffin's name be announced as well. Right after that. It was really funny. But anyway, my friend who's lost a lot of work because of AI, you know, we were talking about, you know, verticals is another thing they're talking about. Verticals, for folks who don't know, are also limited series, but they're really short. Like you can do like 12 episodes, but it's like between a minute and 3 minutes long. But this is a way to sort of like, you know, what was that Billy Bob Thornton movie? That movie?
Sling Blade?
Sling Blade was a 12-minute mini movie.
Yeah, it was. It was a short,
And so was Meet the Parents.
Oh, really?
That guy also, he filmed that with Emo Phillips and a bunch of comics in the Chicagoland area, submitted it, and so that was sort of their demo reel. So you can basically create a demo, the concept, and you can do proof of concept. You build a following. Now people want more. So that's a way to build. And I was telling her, I'm like, you know, it's kind of, you know, no man's land now because all the gatekeepers, like, you're too old, you're too fat, you're too, you know, we don't, but she did say she's losing a lot of her work to the removal of DEI because they don't, she has a Spanish accent. So they use her a lot for,
wow.
Well, because a lot
that's
of
horrible.
So she's lost some of that work as well.
Yeah.
Which was the point. At any rate, Mike Crowley joins me in studio.
Yeah.
We have another segment coming up to talk about. It's so weird. We're going to talk about Toy Story 5. I saw the red carpet with. I have to tell you how much of a crush I have on Joan Crawford.
Yeah.
Joan Cusack. Sorry.
Joan Cusack,
Joan Crawford. I don't keep those hangers away from me. Joan Cusack. Joan Cusack. Do you know that little shop she has in Old Town?
No, she has a shop in Old Town. I know that her family's from Naperville or Evanston. Yeah.
Mike, the window might be closed now because I don't know if she's still going to be running the shop, but she owns basically a little home goods gift shop. She sells novelty socks and really cute gifts and stuff. It's in Old Town on Wells, south of Zanies, not far from Peyton High School.
Yeah.
And Mike, you go in there and you might just have Joan Cusack ring you up at the counter.
Okay. What's the name of the store?
It's like Judy's. I'll take a look during the break.
Okay.
It is, first of all, even if she's not there, it's a really lovely store that she curates and runs with some other folks, I think. But that was where she's been for the last several years. She wasn't in L.A. She hasn't been working on projects. She basically had a little mini retirement.
Yeah.
So when we come back, I want to talk about Toy Story 5.
Yeah.
But yes, Joan Cusack is lovely in person. Just wanted to run this,
Yeah, one of my friends interviewed her. She's awesome.
Yeah, she just has this here Chicago shop is called Judy Maxwell Home is the name of the shop.
Judy Maxwell Home.
It's a really sweet little boutique-y shop. You just go in there and it's just a lovely storefront with fun novelty items, everything from fun books and calendars and greeting cards, she's got bath bombs and soaps and things like that. It's really she has a tchotchke shop of her own is what somebody described it as.
Oh yeah, it's right here. Here it is.
Like I said, she's been running it. She's been running it for 11 years. I love that it's, and I probably maybe I shouldn't be putting it on. I mean, I think it should be okay to say you can go.
It's kind of
sweet.
It's in a way a small business, although Joan Cusack has that Hollywood money.
She's fine,
but she's cool. Yeah.
She's super cool. Anyway, let's talk about Toy Story 5. Five, folks.
Yeah.
More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKW 1150 and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. If you want to give us a text, 773-763-9278. A listener says, I really enjoy it when Mike is on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mark.
Subscribe to my channel.
Subscribe to his YouTube channel. That's YPA Reviews. More after this.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you to our listeners who are subscribing in real time to YPA Reviews. You'll probably agree, reviews. We appreciate that. Mike Crowley, the YPA reviewer. Okay, before we get to the last movie, just because are there any classic movies? Can you think of your favorite classic movie you ever seen on the big screen? Had the opportunity,
You know what I've always wanted to see on the big screen? I never did, and I'm still mad that I saw Shakespeare in Love on the big screen instead of it. Was Saving Private Ryan?
Oh, I saw it on the big screen.
Oh my! How
so
loud
intense.
was it?
It was so intense. That was it 17 minutes of just constant
D-Day.
slaughter,
Because we've never seen war depicted like that on the big screen,
no, we had not.
Everyone tries to copy it since then.
And it gives you that sense of how just the slaughter of a man after man just being gunned down on the shore as they got off those boats in the water as they were dropping the back part of that boat down. I do want to thank you, Paul. Hey, Paul, for the last part of the show, we do have that pre-recorded interview with Nicholas Freudenberg, right? So I want folks to tune in for that conversation. I was really fascinated by his work. He was an activist. In 1969, he was expelled from Columbia University for protesting.
Wow.
And he's been an activist ever since. He worked on the AIDS epidemic with making sure that people had access to medication.
Yeah.
He's worked on Rikers Island, but he's written a book about basically the field guide to sustaining and succeeding with activism, starting at the local level rather than we have to commit to knowing and not accepting, but absorbing the fact that there is no quick fix to what is happening right now.
Nope.
He's been through it for 56 years. So we have to pace ourselves. Before we get to the final review, I do want to get Jim on the line. Jim, I told Paul to open the lines up for you because I wanted to be able to say have a great weekend. What's on your mind, Jim?
Yeah, have a great weekend, Pace. I get a busy day. I was just thinking of Bobby Kennedy, and the woman who worked for him said he was fatalistic. And his brother oldest brother died in a plane crash. His sister died in a plane crash. His brother was assassinated. He had one daughter and one sister institutionalized. So my point is, do you think existence makes you fatalistic, or could you be born fatalistic, or one parent is fatalistic?
Well, I mean, it depends. I think there's a combination of things with as far as mental health goes. I mean, some people might have, that element. I mean, our brains are all wired differently, but also you can have like Abraham Lincoln. I think losing his mother at a very young age, and the way she died, which was this element that the poison that cows eat that got into the milk, and that's how she died. I think that set him on a course of sort of depression too, a darkness hung over him.
They call it melancholia. He had melancholia.
Yes, right.
That's what they call it.
I think he also in the 1830s, if I'm not mistaken, he also had was trying to take something like maudlin, or there was something that he would take that also had mercury in it that might have messed him up also. There are a lot of different things that may have contributed. So everybody's different if they turn to substance abuse.
He had a girlfriend that died too. He had a couple of young vets.
Right. And I think I know JFK was also reliant on painkillers too, which might have, for him, I don't know about RFK if he had the same thing, but I know that JFK was prone to use painkillers because he had a bad back. He had a terrible back. He had a terrible back. But what about a nation? We've been through a fatalistic period with this Republican Party. And how long do you think it'll ring around the rosary? I mean, well, we got to pace ourselves and save the booze for the good days, and only the good booze for the good days. But pace ourselves. Yeah.
My favorite film was a French film, The 400 Blows. I don't know if you guys ever saw it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's a great childhood movie.
Yeah, I love that movie. That's my favorite movie.
Well, have a great weekend. Guys, thank you.
Yeah, have a great weekend, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was Truffaut who worked with Spielberg too, directed that.
Oh, there you go. Well, here we are in the home stretch of the last movie, and I believe did it already open at Toy Story 4? Was it open today?
Yeah, it's open on Juneteenth. I saw it last Thursday or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, Toy Story 5. And I got to say, I do not like Toy Story 4. And I liked Toy Story 5 way better.
Okay.
And I think you could have deleted Toy Story 4 from existence. Okay. And Toy Story 5 would be fine. Now, do we need it? No. Toy Story concluded perfectly after Toy Story 3. It was a perfect book ending. They even had that incinerator moment, which was really dark for a kids movie. I couldn't believe they went there. And then they, had, Andy giving Woody and all the toys to Bonnie, and it's like that ending makes me ugly cry every time. I think I remember when I saw it in the theater, everyone around me was just sniffling. But Toy Story 5 is good because it's not Woody or Buzz's story, it's Jesse's story. So Joan Cusack, yeah.
Lovely. Okay.
Yeah. So and it's so if you've seen Toy Story 2, when they go to Jesse's backstory, this movie brings some really beautiful closure to it. In some ways, I feel like maybe that owner had a little bit of Arrested Development, but still, it was very good closure. And, the thing that I really like about this movie is I think it's important to show to kids because it makes them self-aware. Because the plot of the movie is that there's this tablet that's come on the market. It's called the Lily Pad. It's a lot like an iPad. So all the kids, all of a sudden, Bonnie, she doesn't want to play with the toys because all of her friends want to play with the Lily Pad. So the toys get rejected. And now it's about the toys trying to find relevance again. And, the movie's about how toys are important because it inspires imagination. And dopamine hits from a screen is not going to do that. And there's some great scenes in the movie where the kids will look at their iPads, everything around them will just zero out and it'll just be the screen. And there'll be kids sitting in dark rooms together, just staring at their screens instead of talking to each other. And I took my nephew to the movie. And I turned to him and I said, "Hey, does that look familiar?" And he's like, "No," but he knew. He knew.
Wow. Wow.
So,
I do wonder. That sounds great. Her song, Jessie's song, "When Somebody Loves You," is like even
By
just
Sarah
thinking about it
McLachlan.
makes me just even start tearing up thinking about it.
Leave it up to Sarah McLachlan with those
Yeah.
ASPCA ads. To
I also wonder how many Gen X and millennial parents are stuck with just bins of toys because our kids don't want to get rid of, like, even at 23,
Yeah.
Griffin, he doesn't want to get rid of his toys because he doesn't want to.
What are
he
his
was so
toys?
scarred, emotional scarring from Toy Story movies.
what are like the toys he loved?
Well, tons of Thomas the Tank Engine toys.
Okay,
He
yeah.
definitely has all of the Buzz Lightyear. He
Yeah.
has Woody. We have all the Toy Story toys for sure. And Declan loved Buzz and Woody as well.
Yeah.
There's a snake in my boot. We had the one with the pull string.
Yeah,
whole
I
thing.
got that.
It was great.
Yeah.
And we had the blankets and everything. Well, thank you for letting us know that Toy Story 5 is worth it.
Yeah.
I did not see Toy Story 4, so I'm glad to know I can skip it and there's nothing gruesome.
Yeah, like they don't need to keep making Toy Story movies, but they're gonna go to infinity and beyond with like every sequel.
Well done.
Which I get it, but yeah, at least it's still the gold standard.
Excellent. It's
Yeah.
Mike Crowley, YPA Reviews. Go to ypareviews.com. Thank you so much, Mike.
Yeah.
We have an interview coming up with, I'm going to be very honest with everybody. I pre-recorded this a couple days ago with Nicholas Freudenberg. Thank you so much, Paul Shivari. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll say it again at the end of the recordings, but take care, everybody. You take it over from there.
From city streets to political beats, you're driving it home with Patti Vasquez, where progressive talk fuels the ride.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue our drive home. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez. Hello to our friends tuning in on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, and our friends in Seattle on KKNW 1150. Of course, we're broadcasting here in Chicago on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. And thank you for everyone who tunes in digitally, perhaps on apps, Facebook, YouTube, and all of our shows are available on podcasts wherever you download those, including heartlandsignal.com. Now, we talk a lot about the top headlines, and we're distracted by a lot of things that are going on, and of course, they dangle shiny objects, but really we need to talk about a policy and when the federal government decides to gut your health care, slash your food aid, or tell your doctor what they can and can't do. That fight obviously doesn't stay in D.C. You all know that. You've dealt with your providers, your health care, your insurance companies. It's in your clinic. It's at your kitchen table. When you're worrying about it, you're up all night. Our next guest has spent 6 decades proving that the place you fight back is local. Nicholas Freudenberg is a public health practitioner, a lifelong community organizer, and a distinguished professor emeritus at the City University of New York. His new book is Fighting for New York, Activism for Health and Social Justice Since the 1960s. This isn't theory. It's a manual for all of us to learn from and take those lessons into our communities. From the Young Lord screening kids for lead poisoning to ACT UP forcing down the price of AIDS drugs to the fight for $15 an hour, Nick lays out exactly how regular people took on the powerful and won. And obviously, the timing couldn't be better. Thank you so much for joining us today. Are you staying hydrated? I don't ask people how they're doing. I ask if they're hydrating.
Yes, I'm good, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, my
It's
pleasure.
a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. We need this conversation. Okay, so first of all, my son's one of his dream schools was Columbia, and he chose to stay in Chicago. So I'm a little bit selfish in that sense, but I know that Columbia, obviously, part of the start of where you began your activism when you were 19 years old, and this is amazing. So 1968, you got expelled for your activism. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Oh, man. And so you sat down and wrote the playbook now. So tell us a little bit about that journey from 19 years old in New York at Columbia to this manual. And I mean, like some of the things that you wanted, that you were, taking with you this entire journey that you want to share with us so we can learn.
Sure. So I was a student at Columbia, started in '66, and quickly got involved in the student movement there that was fighting around against the war in Vietnam and against the university's expansion into Harlem, taking over housing and public land and so on. And many of us were concerned about the role that Columbia was playing in the world, in New York, and in Harlem. And so we decided to do something about it. And I think that experience was really formative for me, that when people get together, find allies, we work to create alliances with community organizations in Harlem, with anti-war groups in New York City and in other cities, we can have an impact. And I think a large number of people, more than 1,000 people, were arrested. Some of us, a few of us, went to jail. I spent a week at Rikers Island, and it became a subject of my public health research and activism in later years. I joke that I learned as much in a week at Rikers as I learned in 2 years at Columbia. But what the experience of being an activist and making a difference and talking to people and organizing was that's what I wanted to do. And I think my path into public health was looking for a way to do that so I could support myself and my household, and I could also make a contribution. So I went back to school, and I actually went to City University, where I ended up teaching, a very different place than Columbia, and ultimately ended up teaching. And many of my students were themselves activists in community struggles around. I first learned about AIDS from my students who were working for the New York City Health Department, investigating a disease outbreak that at that time was called gay-related immune deficiency. And the limitations of the public response really convinced me that an activist response was needed. And so I learned from my students who were activists what was going on and how to do that, and saw my forum at City University as an opportunity both to teach and study activism and to participate in it. A few years later, seeing the development of the AIDS epidemic in New York City, I started to work in the Bronx and Central Harlem with people who were using drugs and at risk of HIV and AIDS for the variety of reasons that put people at risk. And some of the people we were working with in community organizations would occasionally disappear. You know, they would be coming to community meetings and then they weren't there anymore. And what we found was a lot of them got arrested and went to jail and ended up at Rikers Island. And so I went back to Rikers, having spent a week there a few years earlier, and found that this was really an ideal place to reach people who were at risk of HIV and AIDS. And with colleagues in the New York City Health Department and at Montefiore Hospital, which at that time was providing AIDS care and healthcare in general at Rikers Island, I actually ended up spending 15 years at Rikers, doing research and program development, helping to connect people at Rikers back to their communities when they got out, to healthcare, to drug treatment, to employment, to school. And that was a really important learning experience for me. And what I found, and I think this reinforced my commitment to activism, was that many of the people at Rikers ended up there because of poverty, because of racism. Some of them did bad things, and some of them committed crimes. A lot of them used drugs, which were so available at that time, and of course still. But at their core, they wanted better lives. They wanted to go back to school. They wanted a job. And so we tried to develop a program that would help them to do that. And what I learned from doing that work is that many of the obstacles to people returning to their community, finding healthcare, finding jobs, connecting to their families, making up for the sometimes bad things they had done, was not always in their control. And that the circumstances in their community, the policing practice, the employment opportunities, schools didn't want people to come back from jail because they thought they were gone, you know? And so by working with folks, what I learned was that the obstacles to people finding health were were policies, were social, were economic, and were political. And that really sparked my interest in activism. And I've been both working with, helping activist groups, but also studying activism to understand what works, what doesn't work, what accounts for the successes and the failures of activism. And that's what I've tried to write about in this book, Fighting for New York.
And I think that people feel overwhelmed. I mean, right now, although I would say, do you see the footage of what's happening? And obviously you're living in it as well. All over the country, we see groups sprouting up in response to ICE, taking people out of our communities. It seems like this, their kind of community activism has really taken hold in certain parts of the country, hasn't it?
Yes. And the way that I look at the current period is there are both incredible challenges. And just speaking in my world of health, the public health threats that the United States and New York City is facing today are really extremely alarming. That the cuts in SNAP and Medicaid that so many people depend on, the cuts in the public health programs itself, the reduction of federal support for state and local health departments, some of the craziness about vaccinations coming out of Washington. But at the same time, I think there's an amazing opportunity. Never has it been clearer to my mind that business as usual isn't working, and that our formal institutions, important as they are, health departments, universities, law firms, are not able to fully address these new challenges. And I think activists that I've been watching and studying and working with over the last 60 years have some of the answers that we need today to find other ways of holding government accountable, of mobilizing people, of having people, whether it's out in the streets or in the voting booth, I think both are important, to really say, another world is possible. We could have a different city, a different society that would make it so much easier for people to find the food, the housing, the work, the clean air that we need to stay healthy.
Man, I feel like everybody needs to get your book. We're talking to Nicholas Freudenberg. Am I saying it correctly? Freudenberg?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure people have different. I'm sure they add consonants and vowels and all kinds of stuff,
yes,
as folks do when they speed read. And I trip over people's names, so I appreciate all patience. He's a public health practitioner, and it sounds like he's written a guide for folks who want to know what they can do. Because what you're talking about, your thesis is, again, as you mentioned, that right now we have a moment where in our communities we can decide what happens next. Because what we've seen is this administration can break things for bad, purposes. For we don't have to get into that, but we can build things that can decide what happens next, right?
Right. And I think that what I learned from putting this book together is so many of the advances in public health in New York City came from activists. The making new drugs available to people with HIV infection in the early 1980s. It was ACT UP that forced the Food and Drug Administration to approve drugs and then to set up the Ryan White program and other programs that would make those things affordable to people. It was women organizing to make reproductive health care, from abortion to family planning to prenatal care, available to women who need it. And so in New York and in the United States as a whole, it's people mobilizing that have given governments and institutions the backbone. I talk about activists as exercising the chiropractic function of giving public officials and institutions the backbone to do what's right, to fear that if they don't do that, voters, people will be so angry that the consequences of not doing the right thing will be greater than, caving into special interests. And I think that's what we learn from activists. And sometimes it takes a very long time. Some of the struggles in New York City have taken, a decade or more. There are fights we're still in the middle of. around Rikers Island, the jail in New York that I was already talking about. For more than a decade, activists fighting against mass incarceration have been trying to shut down Rikers, saying it just makes the conditions there are so horrific, and it's so easy when you can lock up 20,000 people to use those cells. And so there's been a campaign to shut down Rikers. They've made a lot of progress, but the place is still open. When I started working at Rikers as a public health person, there were 20,000 people there. It's now down to 7,000, and that's another success of activists, of saying that arresting people and locking them up should not be the first response. It should be the last response.
Oh, amen. We are talking to Nicholas Freudenberg, and I told him when we started, before we began the conversation, I might hold him for another segment. So I am, and I promise to get you out in time. We are talking to Nicholas Freudenberg, and the new book is out already, right? Fighting for, right? This is out. Excellent.
It will be out July 8th, and it's available for order from Columbia University Press and Amazon.
How funny is that? The school that expelled you has published his book, Fighting for New York, Activism for Health and Social Justice since the 1960s. And you said something really important I need to talk to folks about with your incredible experience. Let's take a break here. We'll be right back after this break on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150, and KTNA 950. Don't go anywhere. This is important.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much. This conversation, I think, is the heart of what so many of us worry about, wonder about. We're looking for answers. We are talking to Nicholas Freudenberg here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, and KKNW 1150, or wherever you're tuning in now or in the future. And Nicholas, you said something a moment ago that, and by the way, the new book is Fighting for New York, Activism for Health and Social Justice since the 1960s, available from Columbia University Press, where he was expelled in the late 1960s, over 55 years ago. And that's something important I want you all to know. It's out July 8th. Is that right? July 8th. Yes. So I can't tell you how much I've been trying to impress this upon folks. And I think you are the voice for this. There's no easy fix to this. And the things that have been broken, as I mentioned earlier, have been a long game plan, and we need to understand. So with your, view of this over 55 years, 57 years, can you tell people this? I think part of it is, how do we pace ourselves? Because people want quick solutions. They want to see change happen fast. And you just talked about changes that happen incrementally. I mean, we could start with ACT UP. We could start with Rikers. Where would you like to point folks as far as that sort of angle of activism?
Yes. So I think what I learned from looking at groups and which groups are maybe more successful and less successful, I think activists need to define short-term victories, things that will speak to people's immediate concerns, and a longer-term vision. And it's easy for activists to get caught up in focusing on only one, and then we sometimes miss the bigger picture and miss the possibility for including people who might have deeper concerns than the short-term goal. And so finding ways to integrate transitional change, temporary change with transformative change. I think that's really important. The second thing is I've really come to appreciate the value and importance of coalitions and alliances. I did work for a bunch of years on childhood lead poisoning. And what we learned was that there were many groups involved in lead poisoning. There were parents of lead poisoned children. They had a very big stake in taking action to get help for their kids and to prevent repoisoning, because if you go back into an apartment where there's peeling leaded paint, you can get poisoned again. But there were also parents in schools where lead poisoning makes it much harder for kids to learn. At high levels, can even lead to, serious learning disabilities. There were tenant organizing groups who saw that their tenants were concerned about lead poisoning, but also other conditions that come about when landlords don't live up to their responsibilities. And so the New York City Coalition to End Lead Poisoning was a group that I and others worked with. We tried to reach out to all those groups and to bring them into the fight. And we were much more effective than it was only parents of lead poisoned children, or only school parents, or only housing activists, or only health professionals for that matter. We also learned in that fight the importance of using multiple strategies. The New York City Coalition to End Lead Poisoning met regularly with the health department, and they were concerned with the problem, but they were constrained by the limitations of government and funding and the pressure from landlord groups not to do too much, not to make landlords fix their buildings, because that would, diminish their revenues. And so after a while, when the city health department and mayor's office wasn't acting on problems, we decided to sue the city. And so the New York City Coalition to End Lead Poisoning filed a lawsuit charging the health department and the housing department and the mayor with failing to enforce the law, failing to protect children. When we made that lawsuit, they stopped talking to us. But what we realized was they started doing more around lead poisoning than any time previously when we'd been meeting with them regularly. And that's because they were concerned about a judge telling them what to do and making them do more than they were doing, and also the media coverage of the lawsuit. So the combination of insider strategy, something that ACT UP used too, of meeting with officials and working through problems, and outsider, being in the streets, being in the courts, being in the voting booths. That also, I think, is a longer-term strategy to build winning coalitions. Those are a few things. I think the last thing I'll say in answer to your question is, especially what we're seeing today is the people leading in the White House and in Congress believe that they want to discourage people from thinking we have rights. They want to make people depressed about the possibility of making change. And so we think insisting that change is possible and showing the concrete ways is important, both for a psychological reason to resist that message that it's all hopeless, for people to be fearful that no matter what they do, it's not going to make a difference, and also to nurture hope and optimism, even if it's going to take a while to reverse some of the damage that's been done in the last 2 years, or the last 10 years for that matter.
Now, as somebody who is the same age as your years in activism, because I feel like a lot of us do feel hopeless and helpless, and some of us feel like it's too late. And I want to encourage folks. I've often talked about how we need to start a book club, and this is the one, folks. This is the book that we are going to do our book club with, and we have to invite you back after it's out, maybe in August, and give folks a chance to read it and have a conversation with you again. So before we let you go, because I know that you're on a schedule right now. Somebody's listening in a neighborhood where a clinic just closed, or benefits have been cut for their neighbors, and they're finding that funding just got pulled for something, and they're furious. Tell them what's their first move.
So look for allies. That's the first thing. What we can do together, parents, health professionals, city officials, is much more than what any one of those groups can do on their own. The second, to be very sure that we've carefully defined the problem, what's causing it, and we want to look for underlying causes. In health, there's a lot of tendency to blame individual behavior or to look for a solution to medicine itself. Medicine and healthcare is important, but we really need to identify the underlying social and political and economic factors and take those on. I gave a talk actually in Chicago a few years ago, and someone who had just started going to school in public health asked, he had encountered a problem, I think it was an environmental problem, and got discouraged about that he wasn't able to fix it in his first, effort at doing it. And what advice did I have for him? And I said, get old. you know, that what I've learned is it takes a while, and to
Yeah.
develop the patience and to see that the successes of a year ago or 5 years ago create the testing ground for creating the successes for tomorrow. So that is, I think, the parting advice I would say. Look for where you can achieve victories, find allies, and keep hope on your progress. Keep track of your progress.
Well, I think one of our assignments right now, in addition to everything you just said about defining the problem, make sure that you know what's causing the problem, working with allies, folks. That's a very strong marching orders for us. And the next is to get the book. I believe the website is cup.columbia.edu. And then when the book comes out, the book again is this is what we need to be talking about. The book is Fighting for New York: Activism for Health and Social Justice Since the 1960s. And we look forward to having you back, my friend. Really a pleasure to meet you. Can't thank you enough. I'm sure that people along the way have thanked you over the years. But I hope that you hear every single one of them. Every piece of gratitude.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to talk.
Thank you. Look forward to the next one. Have a great day.
You too.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Driving It Home. Love you, Lady B, and love you all.